Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to Herpes Wellness. My name is Kat Dupree, and I help people to navigate life with herpes. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background about me, I was diagnosed with genital herpes 9.5 years ago, and I was in a relationship, a very long-term relationship with someone prior to that had disclosed to me from the very beginning that they had genital herpes. And I didn't view it as a barrier to being in a relationship with somebody. It just wasn't something that mattered to me until it mattered. And during that entire time that I was in that relationship, I didn't have a single symptom, not one. After that relationship ended and I was getting my life back together, I moved into my new place and I had what I now know was my first breakout. However, it wasn't typical. I felt something, but it was more like a pimple. I cried because I was like, oh my gosh, I have herpes. What am I going to do? I called my ex about it and got off the phone and I just kind of did some research and was like, no, this isn't it. I don't have herpes. There's no way, because I didn't have the telltale symptoms, right? I didn't have flu-like illness. I didn't have any burning or tingling down there. I didn't have any kind of nerve pain. So I just kind of brushed it off. And I was like, nope, I don't have it. I'm good. Everything's good to go. And then a few months later is when I had my real breakout. I had all the telltale signs. I wasn't feeling well. I felt like the flu was coming on. I had a really big headache. And then I start to feel that tingling down there, tingling sensation that the majority of us get. I actually had a pain going up, down up my leg, kind of like nerve pain in the back of my leg. And then is when I had my first blister. And luckily for me, it was very small. It was very, very tiny, but I knew it definitely was a pimple, and I knew it was different because I felt different altogether. So of course, I called my doctor, made an appointment, got a swab. A few days later, it was confirmed. And even though I showed love for someone else that had herpes, I didn't show that same respect to myself. I went through an emotional roller coaster. And it was really, really hard for me, as it is, I'm sure, for many of you out there who have genital herpes. And I spent years living in silence. I didn't share my diagnosis with anyone. I didn't share my diagnosis with any of my closest friends. I didn't share my diagnosis with my family, my mother in particular, who I'm very, very close with. And I just lived in silence, and I suffered in silence. And I felt really alone. I felt that no one was going to understand. And so I made it a point to just forget the rest of my life and say, you know what, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. No one's ever going to want to be with me. I'm damaged goods, you named it. I just went through all those emotions, right? The roller coaster emotions that come with herpes. That's what I like to call it, because it really is a roller coaster. It's up and down and up and down, especially when you go in between breakouts. You have a breakout, then you don't. Then you have a breakout, then you don't. And it's you can forget about it for a while, then it comes back. I don't know if any of you ever experienced that. It's very, very emotionally draining. And so many years went by, and, I really wanted to tell people. I was so tired of living in silence and suffering in silence. So I confided in a couple of friends. And the sad thing about it is that when I confided in a couple of friends, I lied about how I got it. And I know that sounds terrible, but I just felt better about myself somehow by saying, you know what? I don't know how I got it. I had a relationship with somebody. They didn't tell me that they had it. And this is how I got herpes. I wasn't truthful to them or to myself. The reason why was because I was so afraid of telling anybody the truth, because I didn't want to hear, you messed up your life. Why would you date someone with herpes? We all know the thoughts. We all know the feelings. And we're also afraid to tell somebody, hey, listen, it didn't matter to me what they had. I don't care. I cared about them and it didn't matter. But that's not what I felt, because inside of myself, I felt like I made a mistake. And so therefore I was afraid other people were going to judge me too. So I spent years exploring ways on how to deal with all the feelings that I had around it. The anger, the shame, the embarrassment, the unworthiness, the hopelessness of ever being in a relationship ever again. I dealt with all those emotions, and I took part in so many healing activities to try to get myself right. I read countless books on self-love and letting go and self-esteem. There were just so many things that were going on emotionally with me. I watched hundreds of videos online from so many experts and so many people that I admire to help me to emotionally heal. During my journey, I found out that herpes is really only skin deep. And there was a lot of other underlying issues that were going on other than having herpes. Herpes just only compounded a lot of different things. I'm deciding to come out publicly because I really, really want to help people to navigate that emotional toll. It's a really, really tough thing to navigate. And I don't want anybody to ever have to navigate this condition alone. I don't want any of you to suffer in silence. I don't want any of you to feel that you're not good enough and you're not worthy enough and that you're not lovable and that you're not beautiful, because you all are. And it's what we think of herpes as it is and what society tells us it is how we feel about ourselves. And it took me a long time to be able to come out public to say no. I want to take my power back from herpes. I don't want it to control my life anymore. And what do I need to do to heal from that? What I found was very helpful for me is to heal ourselves inside so that we can go through the world confidently and not allow a skin condition. It's really what it is to dictate who we are and our self-worth. And not only the skin condition to do that, but to allow other people on the outside to dictate who we are and our self-worth. So that's why I'm coming out publicly. I founded Herpes Wellness. It is a place where people can come together in community. You can join as a member. There's a forum where you can ask questions from me. My experience was, and what helped me, and what I've gone through. I'm happy to share my story. And the things that have worked for me, the things that have not worked for me, the things that I know about herpes, the facts that I know from my experience of 9.5 years of having this. So feel free to go to herpeswellness.com, become a member, become a part of the forums. You can also join and connect with other members too, which is really cool. So you can see members, you can chat privately with other members, and just kind of connect as a community. I look forward to welcoming you to the community. I look forward to walking alongside you. And together, I really believe that the more of us that come out, the more of us that do not remain in secret, that do not remain in silence, the more that the stigma and the view of herpes will change. If you have any comments, please put them below. I'd love to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you next time and to welcoming you. Thank you.